welcome to Inside Kennedy Football, your weekly look inside the Eagle football program. My name is Josh Powers. Coming up on this edition of Inside Kennedy Football, we'll talk to the head coach, Kendrick Williams, with a big win last week, 40-0, and a big game coming up on Saturday. It's a noon pick on Saturday against the rival Richfield Spartans. We'll talk to offensive coordinator Nick Larson, and in the players segment, we'll talk to Luke McKinley and Toby Saxey. But first, head coach Kendrick Williams. Coach, always great to visit with you after a win, and boy, a big win. I know Washburn has lost a lot of players from the last couple of years, but you did what a team should, 40-0. It was really a comprehensive performance in all three phases.
Thanks, Josh. Thanks for having me, and thanks to our Eagle Nation out there. Josh, I was really proud of our guys on Friday. We talked about all week winning the games that we're supposed to win. We knew Washburn was down. I mentioned it last week on the show, that they were trying to develop some new, younger kids, But at the same time, I had to teach our guys that we have to win the games that we're supposed to win and send statements when there are statement games to be sent.
And Kennedy team, now you're above 500, Coach, for the first time this late in the season since 2007. And for a team that's learning how to win, I think winning the way that you did, it wasn't like you squeaked by. This was a dominating performance, and now 2 games in a row where it's really been dominating performances. How happy are you that your team is kind of learning exactly what you're talking to them about?
I'm learning. I'm happy that they're learning how to have good days. Good days become great days, become winnable days on Friday, and now this week, Saturday. And that's what we're learning. When you have a young team like that, we're heavy in class of 23. We're heavy in class of 24, light in class of 22, I'm sorry. So with that being said, you have a lot of young leadership learning how to lead. You got some seniors sprinkled in there. We've got about 11, 12 seniors. But we got our big class coming up, and they're really learning that new style, that new way to win.
A lot of highlights for me to pick from, Coach. I always enjoy that, trying to narrow it down, and let's get into them because some big plays here. Zach Zesch, another efficient day for him.
Yes.
6 out of 11. 3 touchdowns combined. This is a nice throw scrambling through the air.
Yeah, we called this. We saw the corner kept, kind of was unskilled. That was a good way to get on the board early, get our receivers in the game early so that they can back off and we can explode our running game.
And you definitely did that all game long, over 200 yards rushing. But the defense, obviously, they pitched a shutout.
Yes.
First team defense, again, they pitched a shutout now 2 games in a row with just the 1 touchdown last week by the second team defense. And here, your pass rusher has just been critical to your defensive success.
It really has. And I'm so glad Chris Martin had a great offseason in the weight room. He was able to get in there. He has some great college looks already. Some people really reaching out about that. No, that's anchored. That D-line is anchored by him. We have a guy who set out back with us, Lee Anthony Wright Ponder. He's really good. You got 2 6'5" DNs coming at you. Good luck.
Well, we've seen some offense. We've seen some defense. Special teams even got in the act.
Yes.
Rajon Walker here. We saw him catch that touchdown earlier, but terrific punt return basically sets up another easy score.
And we talk about field position. We go over special teams in our practices on a daily basis. And again, it's about field position. Where can we put our offense at? Where can we pin the other team at so our defense can have an advantage? We talk about that week in, week out as part of our strategy for the week planning.
And I've loved to see your great blocking, another great couple of blocks downfield, as we mentioned in last week's show too, setting up the table for some of those big gains. And then back to the defense, Marquez Monroe. Boy, what an athletic interception. This is kind of a quintessential safety play that he's able to make there on the sidelines.
And again, Marquez is a kid who's getting a lot of interest in some colleges and even some Ivy League schools, And it's glad to see Marquez playing back to his caliber. He's been all district, all metro since his first freshman year. He's just a wonderful kid, great GPA, great student athlete, and he's a great leader as a captain on our team.
And then one more highlight here is Zach Zesch. He's maybe been your most explosive runner so far this year. Another big 31-yard touchdown, one of 3 rushing touchdowns for him.
Now, Zach is our leading rusher this year, actually. Got to put that ball in the outside hand there. I'm going to tell him that tomorrow. No, really, though. I'm really proud of Zach's improvement. It just shows that with a lot of hard work in the offseason, you can come back and have a great senior year. And that's what Zach is doing.
Speaking of running backs, obviously we've seen Zach from the quarterback spot. You have Saeed, who's done a terrific job all year. And then in this game, mixing in Marquez Monroe in the backfield a little bit, Coach, with 5 carries in the game.
Right. That's something that we had planned on doing earlier in the year. Marquez was coming off a knee surgery in the summer. So, I want to be careful with his career. High school is one thing, but Marquez has a chance to play on Sundays one day. And that's his ultimate dream. That's his ultimate goal. He works hard in the classroom right now. Like I said, he has some great interest from colleges. And I just want to make sure he keeps his body healthy. So we do put him out there, little tease here and there. It's kind of funny because our offensive coordinator, which you will meet, great guy, Nick Larson, he was kind of hesitant at first. I said, trust me, buddy, trust me. And he got to see a little bit of what Marquez can do.
Well, we're going to talk to Nick in just a minute, but 40 points this week, 27 points last week. He's the first-year guy, coach for you. Some pretty impressive performances so far.
Thank you, sir. When I first met Nick, that's what it was about. I loved his youth. I loved his energy. He comes from a successful coaching program. He comes from playing successful at University of Minnesota Duluth. He comes from a successful time when he was a quarterback at Shakopee High School. So he understood how to win. Learning how to work with our level of kids. He's learning that now. I'm just so glad to have that partnership.
Well, great win, Coach. You get an extra day this week. It's a Saturday game. We'll talk a lot about it because I know it's an important one. Richfield, the opponent on Saturday.
Is that who we play?
Yeah. We'll talk about it with the head coach, Kendrick Williams, coming up in a couple of segments. But coming up next, we will talk to first-year offensive coordinator Nick Larson right around on the other side of this break when Inside Kennedy Football continues.
As head coach of the Kennedy Eagles football program, I am so excited that the 2021 season is on. I would like to personally invite you, your friends, family, and the community out to support our program. We have been working very hard to provide an entertaining style of football that you will enjoy. The Eagles are ready to kick it.
It's our time. Come fly with the Eagles.
Back on Inside Kennedy Football, the Eagles play a Saturday game. It's a noon kickoff on Saturday at home. We'll have it for you on BEC-TV, or better yet, it looks like just a terrific day weather-wise in the forecast. So head on out to Bloomington Stadium, cheer on the Eagles, hoping for a big crowd on Saturday and hoping for a third straight Kennedy win. Let's talk to new offensive coordinator in his first year, Nick Larson. Nick, first, welcome to the show, and some great offensive performances the last couple of weeks. How excited are you to be with Kennedy this season, first year with the Eagles?
Well, I can just tell you, I've had an absolute blast out here. Again, not only is this my first year at Kennedy, but this is my first year as an offensive coordinator. So just kind of, developing my own style of offense, kind of what I want to do, and also getting to work with our Kennedy athletes and kind of melding and molding those two things together. It's been a challenge at times, but it's been extremely rewarding, and I've just been, and super enthusiastic about going to practice every day and getting to spend time with these great kids.
We'll talk about the team and the kids in a little bit, Nick, but I think the Eagle fans want to know, what is your background? What's your story? So walk us through. I know Coach listed a few of the accomplishments in the first segment, but when did you start playing the game of football? And then just talk about your association with football as you kind of grew up here in the Twin Cities and after.
I mean, I think the day I was born, my dad put a football in my crib, so I've been a football guy my whole life. I know there's one story we like to tell where I got a autographed Vikings football from, of course, Chris Carter. My dad said, you can't give a little kid a football and not let him play with it. So unfortunately, I still have the ball, but you can't see the autograph. So that's one thing I kind of like to rib him a little bit. But I grew up playing in Shakopee. I went to Shakopee High School, graduated in 2013. I had awesome coaches there. I was surrounded by great people. And I had the opportunity to play in college, where then I went to University of Minnesota Duluth. Again, had great coaches, great teammates that surrounded me, and that's why I decided to get into coaching, because I wanted to give back. I wanted other students or other kids to have the same kind of positive experience that I had. So after I graduated, I moved out to Colorado. I taught and coached for a couple years out there, kind of got to experience a different, I would say, flavor or style of football, being in the Southwest a little bit, and then missed home a little bit too much, decided to move back, and I'm super thankful for the opportunity that Coach K gave me, and like I said, I'm having a blast out here.
So how did that connection work? How did you end up with Kennedy? Walk us kind of through that story that led you back from Colorado to Minnesota and ultimately to Bloomington here.
So I had coached for 2 years. I was like a JV head coach. And again, I'd always had this kind of desire to be a head coach. So when I was like offered the opportunity to be the JV head coach, I was like, yes, I'll absolutely take it. And then I started calling plays, and I was like, oh, this is my thing. I really like calling plays. Then after a couple years out there, I decided to move back. And then with the pandemic and everything, and I was moving back, I was doing grad school, so I kind of took last year of coaching off. And again, really missed it. I decided that I had to get back. So I started kind of sending out feelers and kind of seeing what opportunities there were. And then can't quite remember exactly how I found out about Coach K, but we met one day in the spring. I got to kind of tour the school and kind of meet some of the kids, see what everything was about there. And he called me up, he offered me the job, and I said, I'm in, let's go. So ever since then, we haven't looked back.
Let's talk about this year's team a little bit, because I'd imagine when you step foot maybe that first day of practice or whenever that was, and you saw guys like Rajon Walker and Marquez Monroe, quarterback with the speed and athleticism of a Zach Zesh, Saeed as a running back. Have to imagine the wheels got turning in your mind, and you're thinking, okay, well, I got some tools here, some toys that I can work with.
Absolutely. It's like you look around, you see athletes at all these different positions, and that's where it has just been, developing the system and getting our guys to kind of buy in to what I was trying to do. And then we did that over the summer. I was involved in the weightlifting all summer, the summer practices. We were able to kind of like knock off some of the rust there. And then as the school year began, we started getting, more and more athletes, fall camp, school year, we started getting more kids. So again, it's bringing those kids up to speed, seeing what each kid can do. Again, like I see Zach doing things every week that I've never seen him do. Rajon Walker is a playmaker. It's just, you got to just find opportunities or create opportunities for those guys to get the ball, and then watch them be successful.
We'll get you out of here on this one, but being associated with Kennedy in your first year, what have you seen so far from maybe the city of Bloomington, Kennedy Eagle football program and school in particular that you've really liked so far in your short time here?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the kids that we coach, I would say that they're young men, the way that they act, again, very, very positive and supportive. We talk about kind of like changing that culture and creating like this desire to win, and I think that we can see that after our first game that we won, it was like, oh, okay, we did it, now we did it twice, and it's like, okay, now we got to start thinking about, hey, we're going to expect to win rather than kind of be like, oh, we won a game. It's like we're kind of trying to change that, and I think a lot of these kids, these young men, they've really bought into that, and we're going to continue to hopefully see more success as we get going.
Well, 67 points the last two games. It's been a good couple of weeks for you. Hopefully that can continue on Saturday against Richfield. Nick, Larson, I really appreciate the time getting to know you a little bit, and we'll chat down the road.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
All right, coming up next, we'll check back in with the head coach, Kendrick Williams, as we look ahead to the big rivalry game on Saturday against Richfield when Inside Kennedy football continues.
Kennedy High School is excited to welcome back fans for the 2021 football season. Masks are strongly recommended, but not required. There's no capacity limits, and we're excited to have people back.
The Kennedy Foundation also helps support the football team here at Kennedy. Season passes are available on our website, and Spirit Wear is also available for purchase at the Kennedy games. It takes a village, it takes a community. We'll see you at the football game. Fly with the Eagles! Fly with the Eagles!
Back on Inside Kennedy football. Richfield the opponent on Saturday. It's a noon start Saturday. watch it live on BEC-TV, or better yet, get out to the stadium, support the Eagles as they look for their 3rd win in a row. Back to preview that game, Coach Kendrick Williams. Coach, after a win, you want to get your team's attention. I'm sure the opponent, Richfield, grabs that attention right away. It's a big rivalry for you guys.
I guarantee it grabs mine. Unfortunately, we went into Richfield's house last year, and they played a well-managed game. They beat us, and we keep that in our kids' minds. That that was one that we were supposed to have last year, and we talk about that. Coach Nick alluded to it. How do you make great games? How do you win the games you're supposed to win? And how do you change the culture to expect to win those games? The expectation is a lot of things. Not going in with the mindset that, oh, woe is us, but more so, we're the overdog. They're the underdog right now. Our record is better than theirs. And at the end of the day, our kids are the same people, man. They're good friends. It reminds me of my days playing for Minneapolis Henry. We'll talk about that later this year when we play them. But, in Minneapolis when I played in the 90s, everybody was friends. It didn't matter if you went to Minneapolis North, Henry, Edison, Washburn, South, Roosevelt, or Southwest. You were friends with somebody on that team. So that's what reminds me of this game. It's that much meaningful because they have to play against their friends.
Let's take a look at some of the Richfield highlights. They had a close loss last week, missed an extra point in overtime. They've lost a lot of players from the last couple of years, but they still have a terrific quarterback, Mitchell January, and he makes plays all over the field.
I'm going to give Mitchell a lot of credit. He's normally a basketball player, right? We know him as a basketball player and a good wide receiver. We also know him as Jessica's little brother. So the January family, a great family also. I'm so proud of Mitchell and his success this year throwing the ball. I didn't know he had it in him himself. He's a tremendous athlete. He has speed, and he utilizes that to his advantage.
He's a great playmaker, too, with the ball. Very fast, as we've seen on the basketball court, and you have to watch out for that ability to run.
Mm-hmm. And that's what we're talking about now. That's what we're working on. I'm grateful that we have athletes in practice that can kind of mimic that, what they're doing over there. The other part of Nicollet Avenue down there off of Harriet, those guys. Well, no, really, in all seriousness, Chris Buford, their coach, we've talked over the last couple of years. And, we have the same issues in our programs in our schools. So it'll be a good game on Saturday.
One more throw from him. 7 touchdowns this year, only 4 interceptions, and he's throwing for almost 200 yards a game. And I think that, like you said, that's been kind of the surprise, is his ability to throw the ball. And here he extends the play, and he's able to find an open receiver.
Good job. And that's what, we're talking about the scrambling Mitch, the scrambling quarterback. That's what he is. He scrambles, he moves well in the pocket, outside the pocket. And oftentimes when you do that, coverage can break down. So that's really our focus this week, is on limiting those scramble plays.
Just from a team perspective, Coach, 2 big wins the last couple of times out. How do you keep the team focused? Obviously, we talked about Richfield. Now that you're not playing Jefferson, that's a big rivalry for you guys. But to keep this team going on the right path and that winning path, trying to build that culture, what are some of the things that you've talked to them about this week?
How to be humble, how to Coach Larson, kind of alluded to it. How to expect? What is our mindset now? Now that we're starting to taste a little bit of success, we don't want to go too far ahead. We had a kind of a lackadaisical practice we talked about today. Turning it up tomorrow, turning it up on Thursday. We got an extra day in this week to really get after it and really make sure our kids' mental states are ready to be successful on Saturday.
All right, well, on Saturday, Coach, all weather reports will knock on wood or whatever you want to knock on. Mid-60s, a lot of sunshine. What would it mean to have just a gigantic crowd out there Saturday hoping to cheer you guys on for win number 3 in a row?
Josh, I'm so glad you said that. I've talked to so many alumni who are just proud of this moment right now. Kennedy is finally getting some positive recognition for what we're doing in the football field, So oftentimes your football team kind of controls your school environment in so many ways. So it is really good. I've talked to some alumni. They're really excited about this week, homecoming, other games. They feel like they can come to Kennedy again. At the same time, they're kind of upset. They didn't do it in their day. But at the same time, it's just going to be a really good community day for all of community. Richfield and Bloomington, especially East Bloomington, is so tied into each other, whether it be the Mall of America that bind us or our cultural likenesses, with the different diversity and everything that we have. So I'm really happy about that, really glad about that, and just looking for a great day of high school football on Saturday.
Well, I enjoyed watching the highlights from last week's game, but really looking forward to watching you guys in person Again, Coach, we'll be there on Saturday. Best of luck in the game, okay?
Appreciate that, Josh. And I thank you to our week's sponsor, Gerton's. You know, we're doing a thing with Gerton's where we're selling, promoting flowers for the community and everything. So I'm just really proud of our guys right now.
All right, that's the head coach, Kendrick Williams. One more segment. It's the players segment. Coming up next, we'll talk to Luke McKinley and Toby Somsaxi on Inside Kennedy Football next.
The Kennedy Foundation mission is to be a hand up financially to help students in activities and athletics. All students have the ability to participate in any sport or activity regardless of your prior experience. Kennedy is a well-versed school. Lots of opportunities for students to thrive and be their best. Anyone can join us in helping with our fundraising efforts, like purchasing one of our Love Your Melon caps available on our website, purchasing a season pass that is available to all varsity games for both Jefferson and Kennedy throughout the entire school year, and last but not least, join us on Monday nights at Bingo at the Sports Page. See you there!
Back on Inside Kennedy Football, the Eagles back home this week. Again, it's a Saturday game, big time matchup against the Richfield Spartans. I hope I have as much energy at some point in my life as Rachel Keller does in those promos as we talk to a couple of the players. Toby Somsaxi and Luke McKinley, guys, I appreciate the time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Toby, let's talk to you first. You're a senior here at Kennedy. I know outside of football, track is another one of your passions. Talk about your involvement with track and field.
I started track and field my 7th grade year, and I didn't really like running until I started playing football like at recess and stuff, and I actually liked running. So I got into track, and people told me to try like the 100 meter, 200 meter. Yeah, I like sprinting. The 200 is probably one of my favorites just because of the curve. I like running curves. I'm usually faster than people that are faster than me in straights just because I take quicker steps. But yeah, track, and then I started football in 7th grade as well.
How did you decide? What led you to become a football player? Ultimately, you're on the varsity level here as a senior at Kennedy. What were some of those factors?
I would say I had a couple friends at school. They would just tell me to try it out. But also just like playing football at recess, I just found out like it was kind of fun. I liked having the ball in my hands, getting a chance to run and avoid people. My catching wasn't really up there when I was younger, but yeah, they had me at running back, and I just get the ball and run, and I just like the feeling of it.
Luke, how about you? When did you start playing football, and what led you to, also you're a younger guy, only a sophomore, so first year on the varsity here, what led you to become a varsity player this year?
Well, I started playing, I'm pretty sure when I started at middle school, and that was the first time that I really had an opportunity to play. I played BAA in Bloomington, and then coming to Kennedy and playing football was just a no-brainer. My whole time at BAA, I was thinking about coming here and getting my time at varsity. It's been really fun to play. Last year I played a lot of JV. I'm really happy to getting the opportunity to play at varsity now.
That first game, you go up to Park Center. What was it like that first time? You got the uniform on, the pads, and you're jogging out in a varsity high school football field with the team. What were some of those feelings that you went through that night?
Well, to be honest, I wasn't very nervous. I got out there and I was ready to do my job. I was really psyched to get out on the field, and it was just in my head that I needed to do my job.
And Toby, for you, a wide receiver this year, you're one of the seniors. Getting that ball in your hand, we've seen you make a number of catches so far this year. So what was that feeling like? You got to grab that first catch this year. Had to be kind of a special moment, I would imagine, for you.
Yeah. As soon as I heard the play call, I was like, yeah, this is coming to me. And I ran my route, and I looked at Zach, and I just saw the ball coming to me, and it was just like tunnel vision.
And under the lights and everything, it was just like so exciting, and I got it. And I just tried to find an opening and go. But it was so exciting having the ball in my hands for the first time in a varsity game.
And he didn't drop it, which is an added bonus. I think
Yeah.
I just would have just closed my eyes and hoped for the best. I don't know. But Luke, back to you. I know Toby mentioned track is another one of his talents, and we were talking before the show. You have kind of a unique sport that you also participate in, so talk about that for everyone out there.
Yes, I fence. I started that in 4th grade. As a 4th grade, I was looking through the activities. I was like, oh my gosh, there's swords. So I signed up. And after a year, I kind of got serious about it because it's really fun. And I've gotten serious. I went to the 2019 national event. It was more for the experience. I could have done better, I think, but it was a very good experience. I'm looking forward to doing a lot more. I have a good coach that also went to Kennedy, and it's helped me with a lot of work ethic and footwork.
Okay, I was just going to ask you if there's anything that translates over from fencing to football, and you kind of mentioned that that footwork piece of it. So for yourself, you're a defensive back, right? I'd imagine that footwork piece has to help when you're backpedaling, kind of going side to side, trying to stay as close as you can to those wide receivers.
Yeah, for sure. I'm really good at ladders too, which we do that in fencing a lot. And in fencing, footwork is a very big thing. I'm sure my coach would say I didn't have very good footwork, but I'm getting there. I'm working on it.
Toby, last one for you, but this season started off so well for Kennedy. How cool is it from your perspective? You're a senior. Kennedy's got their best record in almost 2 decades right now. I'm assuming it's a special time for you. You just want to keep this thing rolling right now.
Yeah, I knew when I started my senior year, I just wanted to change things. Ever since I got here as a freshman, everyone's mindset around the school, all the other players is just like, oh, we're gonna lose. But I came into here and that mindset didn't translate into me. I always just wanted to win. Stay positive, we're on the sidelines and a bad play happens. I always tell everyone to keep their heads up. The first game, it didn't I feel like that is the reason we lost is because everyone was just, they got down after the first play because it was a fumble the first play. And everyone was just, they thought we were going to lose right away. And then the second game, the whole week we practiced, we were all positive, we were ready for the game, and we finally had that positive mindset that we should have had.
All right, Toby, Luke, great to get to know you guys. I'm looking forward to this game on Saturday. Best of luck to you both, okay?
Thank you.
All right, that'll wrap up this edition of Inside Kennedy Football. Another reminder, the Eagles play Richfield. It's a Saturday game, Saturday at noon. You can watch it live on BEC-TV, or better yet, head on out to Bloomington Stadium and cheer on the Kennedy Eagles. All right, that'll wrap up this edition of Inside Kennedy Football. For our entire crew, this is Josh Powers saying good night from our studios.